The sun had barely risen over Lagos, but the city was already awake, pulsing with energy, sweat, and dreams. In a cramped one-room apartment in Surulere, Chris was up before dawn, hunched over his aging laptop. His fingers flew across the keyboard, coding as if his life depended on it. In many ways, it did. Chris had a dream, one he shared countless times with Amelia, his girlfriend of 3 years. He was building a tech app he believed could revolutionize online payments for local artisans and small vendors. It was bold, ambitious, and risky. But Chris had never been afraid of risk. What he feared, more than anything, was mediocrity. Behind him, Amelia stirred in bed, her long lashes fluttering open. She watched him for a moment. The sun, creeping through the thin curtains, bathed his face in a golden hue. There was something deeply attractive about Chris's passion, his focus, his fire. "You haven't slept," she said, voice raspy with sleep. Chris glanced back and smiled. "I'll sleep when this code finally works." Amelia chuckled, pulling the threadbare blanket tighter. "You're going to code yourself into a ghost. Better a ghost with impact than a man who gave up." His words lingered in the air, heavy with truth. That was the Chris she fell in love with, determined, smart, full of vision. But lately, reality had begun to eat away at her admiration. The generator barely worked. The fridge was empty more often than not. And her friends? They had started talking. "Why are you still suffering with that broke genius?" her friend Tasha had asked just a week ago. "Love doesn't pay bills, babe." But Amelia always defended Chris, or at least she used to. That morning, she dressed up for a brand meeting in Lekki. One of her fashion reels had gone viral last month, and suddenly she had a taste of a world she never imagined. Free wigs, gifted perfumes, a possible ambassador deal. Amelia was stepping into influence, and with it came offers, attention, and options. As she stepped into the Uber, her phone buzzed with a message. "Richard Blake, saw your reel, you're stunning. Let's talk business. And maybe more? Dinner?" She stared at the message, heart thudding. Richard Blake, founder of Naira Core, one of the biggest fintech firms in Nigeria. He was rich, powerful, and notoriously single. Everyone on social media knew him. Why was he messaging her? She didn't reply. Not yet. At the meeting, the brand team loved her. They wanted her to be the face of their new luxury shoe line. "But you'll need to maintain a more upscale image," the PR woman added, glancing at Amelia's Zara heels. "Your brand has potential, but it needs polish. You're no longer just any girl. You're stepping into the lifestyle market." Those words echoed in her mind as she rode back to Surulere, where the street was muddy from morning rain, and the electricity had been out all day. Chris greeted her with a smile and a kiss on the forehead. "How did it go?" "Good," she said flatly, dropping her bag. She was too tired to explain the growing voice in her head, the one that said, "You deserve more." They ate dinner in silence, beans and gari. No meat, no light, no fan. As they lay in the dark, Amelia's phone buzzed again. Another message from Richard. "Richard, still waiting. Or should I take the silence as rejection?" Chris turned in his sleep and mumbled, "I'll make it, Mel. Just give me time." She stared at his silhouette, a lump in her throat. Time. She had given time. 3 years of it. But what if he never made it? The next day, Amelia agreed to meet Richard for coffee. Just to talk business, she told herself. They met at a rooftop lounge in Ikoyi. He was taller than she expected, dressed in sharp native attire, Rolex peeking out from his sleeve. He didn't talk much about business. He talked about her brand, her future, her beauty. "You have something rare," he said, locking eyes with her. "You just need the right environment to blossom. I could give you that." By the end of the meeting, he handed her an envelope. Inside was a brand deal contract worth more than Chris had ever seen in his life. Amelia signed it, but she didn't tell Chris. That night, Chris surprised her with candles and noodles. "I know it's not much," he said, "but I want to celebrate your first brand gig. I'm so proud of you." She forced a smile, the weight of her secrets choking her. Chris danced with her in the dark, their laughter echoing. For a moment, she remembered why she fell in love. But in that same moment, she also remembered the air-conditioned lounge, the gold pen, the future Richard painted. She was living in two worlds, and one of them had to break. A week later, she made her decision. She packed her things while Chris was at a developer meetup. She left a note on the table. "You are the best man I've ever known, but love is no longer enough for me. I need more than dreams. I need a life that works." Then she walked out. As she entered the waiting car, Richard's driver holding the door open, her phone buzzed again. A new message. "Chris, Mel, guess what? They accepted my pitch. I'm in. Our lives are about to change. Please pick my call. I have the best news." Her hands trembled, but she didn't look back. The suite at the Skyview Residences overlooked the glittering skyline of Victoria Island. From the 18th floor, Amelia could see the ocean, the chaos of Lagos reduced to sparkling lights and silent movement. Her new life was everything Instagram dreams were made of. Marble countertops, imported wine, designer dresses stacked in custom wardrobes. But for all the gold-plated elegance around her, something inside felt rusted. Richard was generous, painfully so. He covered her rent, her car, flew her to Ghana for lunch, and Morocco for a photo shoot. Her social media numbers tripled overnight. She had finally become the it girl she once fantasized about being. But with the gifts came rules. "No more cheap brands," he once told her sharply, after she wore a local designer's dress to a gala. "You represent me now. Look like it." At first, she told herself it was the price of leveling up. But gradually, she realized she wasn't building her brand. She was being bought by his. Chris's face haunted her some nights, not because she missed him, or so she claimed, but because she hadn't even told him goodbye to his face. She never blocked him. His number was still saved. Sometimes at night, she would read his last message over and over. "Chris, our lives are about to change. Please pick my call. I have the best news." But she never replied. Weeks passed. Then came the moment of truth. Her face was plastered across billboards in Lagos for a luxury hair brand. It was her biggest campaign yet. Richard had pulled strings, of course. There was a launch party in Lekki, and she was the centerpiece. Dressed in a silver gown, cameras flashing, Amelia should have been overjoyed. But during her speech, as she thanked Mr. Richard Blake for believing in her, she locked eyes with someone in the crowd. Chris, standing tall in a crisp tuxedo, alone. Expression unreadable. She froze. After the speech, she slipped away to the restroom, heart pounding. Minutes later, Chris was there. "So this is the life you wanted," he said. Amelia turned. "You shouldn't be here." "Why not? You left me for this world, didn't you? I'm part of it now. Didn't you hear? My app got acquired." $10 million. Silence. I didn't know, she said. You would've, if you picked up your phone. Chris, no. Don't. Just answer me this. Are you happy? She opened her mouth to speak, but no sound came out. Then Richard walked in. Amelia, we need to go. I don't like this energy. Chris didn't even look at him. He stared at Amelia. You already made your choice. I hope it was worth it. Then he walked away. The days that followed the launch party were silent, not in the noisy world of social media, where Amelia's pictures trended and her brand shined. But within her, something had shifted. Chris's words echoed like thunder. Are you happy? She wasn't. She had everything and nothing. Richard noticed too. He became colder, less patient, controlling. You've changed, Amelia, he said one evening after she canceled a dinner he scheduled without asking. You're starting to forget who made you. Amelia wanted to scream. Made me? Was she a product? That night, she lay awake, staring at the ceiling of the luxury penthouse. There were no mosquitoes, no heat, but the silence felt louder than any chaos. She scrolled through her old pictures, the ones with Chris, the nights they laughed under candlelight, the day they danced in the rain, the day he bought her suya with his last new 1,000 just tea. She shut her eyes tightly, but the tears came anyway. The next morning, she made a bold move. She took a break from social media, deleted Instagram, left Richard's house, rented a small apartment in Lekki with her own money, savings from campaigns. It was modest, but hers. She needed to find herself again. Months passed. Chris had become a household name. Interviews, conferences, Forbes Africa cover. He was engaged in multiple philanthropic projects and tech mentorship programs. He never once reached out to her again. Amelia tried to focus on rebuilding. She launched a women's fashion platform for upcoming influencers, supporting grassroots brands, the kind Richard once mocked. She gained new followers, real ones who admired her honesty. She told her story without naming names, how she lost herself chasing perfection, how luxury came at a cost, how real happiness wasn't in what she wore, but in who she was. She became a speaker at empowerment events, her brand now more meaningful than just beauty shots. But one part of her story remained unresolved: Chris. It wasn't until a tech conference in Abuja that fate spun the final twist. She had been invited to speak on reclaiming authenticity in the digital age. She had no idea Chris was the keynote speaker. When she arrived, their eyes met backstage. Time slowed. Amelia, he said simply. Chris. They stood in silence. You look different, he said. Peace suits you. So do success and forgiveness, she replied softly. He nodded. I watched your TEDx talk. You've grown. So have you. They both smiled. Do you hate me? She asked. No, I understand now. Sometimes life breaks us to rebuild us. Tears filled her eyes. I was scared. I wanted stability. I didn't believe your dream would ever work. Neither did the world. And until it did, he paused. But you were part of the reason it did. You stood by me when no one else did. Even if you didn't finish the journey with me, you helped start it. And I'm grateful. They both walked out to the stage and spoke their truths about fear, ambition, betrayal, growth. By the end of the event, the audience gave a standing ovation. But when the lights went down and the cameras stopped flashing, Amelia asked the question her heart had been holding. Chris, do you think we could ever start again? He looked at her. Maybe, but this time not for love alone. For what then? For truth? For partnership? For purpose? He took her hand gently, and in that moment, beneath the bright lights and applause, Amelia realized something. Sometimes love is enough, but only when it's rooted in purpose, truth, and self-respect.